Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar today on NetSuite Marketing Tips. It will be presented to you by myself, Tom Elliott, and I am one of the consultants here at Nolan Business Solutions. So briefly, I'm just going to go through the agenda about what we're going to cover today on this webinar. So firstly, we'll look at the online customer forms that are available in NetSuite. Then we'll look at promotions and marketing campaigns. That will link in nicely to then the NetSuite Campaign Assistant SuiteApp. And then we'll finally finish off by covering some of the marketing reports that are available in NetSuite. Okay. So we'll start off with the online customer forms. I'll talk about it through a bit briefly, and then I'll go into NetSuite itself and show you some of these customer forms and some of the features that are available in NetSuite. So when you create these online customer forms in NetSuite, NetSuite itself creates an external URL for the form that appears in the external statistics subtab that I'll show you shortly in NetSuite. This enables this link to be available. This link for the online customer form is then available for your website, and you can pass it through various parameters to automatically populate fields on the form. You can also embed the online customer form in your website so that when visitors complete the form, they can do so without having to click a link to a separate web page. Online forms can be used to create new leads, prospects, customers and contacts, and they also can be used to update existing customers and contacts. So for example, if you've already got a customer in NetSuite itself and they complete the form, it can be used to update the information directly in NetSuite. If you create campaign email messages with a link to an online lead form, this needs to pass the lead source in the URL. Okay. So I'm going to jump out of PowerPoint now and jump into NetSuite. Okay. So this is an online customer form page setup in NetSuite. So just going to talk you through some of the features, and then I'm going to show you what this form looks like actually being created. Then we'll submit the form, and then we'll go back to the NetSuite itself and be able to see how that's created and how it gets updated. Okay. So this is the form I'm going to be using for the purposes of this webinar. We'll just call it online customer form. Online lead form, and you can see the title here. All this is editable. So if I go into edit mode, I'll just show you. So it's really simple, really. What I've got option here is create a title for it, and then you can fill out a message. And this message, as you can see, is just text editor. So you really can type in anything you want your customers or leads to see when they go to this web form. Then down the bottom here, you can see we've got this select fields option. Now, all of these fields are fields that are set up in NetSuite and available to myself or anyone that's going to be using NetSuite. These are fields that will be standard in there. And you can see some of the options you select. So for example, when you select to include a field, you can then make whether or not the field is mandatory. So that will mean when they complete the form, they have to fill out that field. You can set certain options for the width of these fields. But a couple of other things that are quite useful over here today is these update customer and contact options. So if I leave them as yes, it means that if a person was to complete the form and they actually already existed in our NetSuite system, do we want NetSuite to look to see if they already exist and update that customer or contact if NetSuite finds that they already exist? You then can add a detailed message. I haven't got one here on the form, but it's something on the show as well. So you could add even more text to your online web form. You really can customize it as much as you want, add as much text you want to the form. Now then the setup workflow tab, there's a lot of options here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but a couple of things that I think is useful to know. One of them is this set lead status. So what it means is when we've got, say, a new person visiting our website and is going to complete our form, when they get created in NetSuite, then how do we want NetSuite to treat them? So if I click on this drop-down option, you've got a list of default settings. You can say when that lead gets created in NetSuite, create them as a lead unqualified or a prospect in negotiation. And all of these options are configurable in NetSuite. And the other thing I want to show is this redirect to URL. So this basically means that once the user has completed the form and has committed submit and their information will uploaded to our NetSuite account, then we can redirect them to a URL web page. And that really can be anything you want it to be. So in our case, we've got a dummy website that again is used for one of our demo accounts. So we'll see that what happens afterwards to that. You can then customize the appearance how you wanted to, so you've got some standard options for number of columns shown, color theme. You can add a logo to the form, so in this example we've got the Nolan Business Solutions logo. You'll see that shortly when we go to the form. And then finally I want to show this external tab. Now this external tab basically helps track who's visited, or not who's visited, but when people have visited our online form. So you can see the number of requests, so that's the number of times that people have viewed our form, and the number of submits, that's the number of times that people have actually submitted the form, completed it, and the information has been updated in NetSuite. And from this, the other key thing to show is this Publishable Form URL. So this is a URL that then you can use to provide via email or provide as part of your website, that users can follow that link and it will take them directly to the online lead form. So I'm just going to save that. I haven't made any changes, but I'll just go back into the save mode. And if I show you that, for example, it'll take us through to our online lead form. So what I can do here now, actually I might jump back. So I pre-populated this online lead form. So this is the online lead form that I talked you through in NetSuite itself, and this is what it looks like. As you can see, it's very simple. I haven't done too much for it, but I just wanted to show what it could look like. And a couple of things to note is the asterisks. So these are the fields that, if I just jump back into here, and so the select fields, these are the ones I said yes to make them mandatory. And if I go back to my form, they're the ones I can see there, the red asterisk next to. So imagine I'm just a new user that wants to find out more about this company. Fill out my name, for example, new lead, and I work for a company called Nolan Marketing Company. Once I submit this form, I'll just wait for that to happen. Two things are going to happen. One is we're going to get redirected to the URL that we set up in the online customer form within NetSuite. And the second thing is this user, example new lead, and the company, Nolan's Marketing Company, are going to get set up in NetSuite themselves. So here we go. So it's been submitted, and we can see we've been taken to our website, which is just, like I said before, example website used for purposes, for demo purposes, Nelson's Holdings. And actually, if I went back into the form and I went to the external, so not the external, set up workflow and actually followed that link, it's going to take me to exactly the same web page. Okay. So I've completed the form, it's been submitted, I've been redirected. So from an end user perspective or customer's perspective that's filling out the information, their job's complete. So if I go back into NetSuite, I want to show you two things. Firstly, if I go to this external tab and hit refresh, so let's go back to the external tab, you can see the number of requests has gone up, because twice since I last opened this page I've been on the link, and the number of submits has gone up to 3 because I've completed the form. So you can see it really is real time, all the information gets updated as soon as someone goes on there and someone submits the form. And now if I search for the person I just created, and we can see here, this is the contact information I just completed. So you can see the name was example new lead, the company was Nolan's Marketing Company. So if I actually, this is the contact person, and then if I follow the contact person, it will take me through to the company, and you can see the relationship works both ways there. So now the lead itself is linked to the contact person, and we can see it's picked up the information I put in. So the address information has been picked up, the email address that I entered has been picked up, as has the phone number, and the comment section as well. So the comment section that was available at the bottom, anything I input into that is then brought through into NetSuite itself. The final thing to show you is the sales tab. I want to show here, as you can see, that status that was we defaulted it to of lead unqualified is here. Here it's been brought through and populated on the lead form itself. Okay. So that was the online lead form. So hopefully it's given you a good idea of what some of the stuff that you can do through it in NetSuite itself. I'm going to go back to my presentation now and go on to the next section, which is talking about marketing campaigns and promotional marketing campaigns. So marketing campaigns enable you to design, manage, and implement multi-channel marketing campaigns within NetSuite itself. And what it enables you to is each campaign can track individual campaign events in the form of either an email, direct mail, or telephone marketing, print ads, or any other channel you might use. So these are just the default ones that are available. But you can track any channel you might use. And also for each campaign, you can track the revenue and lead acquisition generated by your marketing campaign. So shortly we'll go back into NetSuite and I'll show you the basics of creating a marketing campaign, but then actually to create one, we'll actually do that as part of the NetSuite Campaign Assistant SuiteApp, where actually basically we go through the whole setup of it. Now, promotions and marketing campaigns. So promotions enable you to track special offers that you and say your partners can extend to customers. These can carry discounts that then the customers can apply to the web store orders and also orders placed with sales reps. So they link and work alongside your marketing campaigns through coupon codes. And what happens is when the coupon code is used on an order, the promotions discount will be applied to that order, and you can track the revenue associated with that promotion on the promotion reports itself. You can also pass coupon codes through links to your web store, and this is done by adding the promotion code parameter at the end of the URL. And so what happens is when the recipient follows that link to your site, the coupon code will be stored and applied directly to their order when they check out. So I'm going to jump back into NetSuite, and I can close my lead now. I'll close this page. So what I'll do is, this is back into my NetSuite account, and this is a list of all marketing campaigns that are already set up. Sorry, then it's not, sorry. Jumping ahead of myself there. So if I was going to set a new marketing campaign up, I go to List, Marketing Campaigns, and this will show a list of all the available marketing campaigns. So I put a filter on it here, so it's just those associated to myself. But if I went to all, I could see all marketing campaigns that have been set up in there. If I was to create a new campaign, it would be really simple. I could just select New Campaign, and then I would have this marketing campaign web page I needed to complete. So as with any sort of record in NetSuite, all of these forms are customizable. So this is just a standard campaign form, and it's got a standard set of fields associated to a marketing campaign in NetSuite. But we can customize this form to simplify it. We can take out some of the fields that we don't need to populate as part of the marketing campaign. In the same way, we can add fields to it. And like the online lead form, fields that are in red, with the red asterisks are actually mandatory fields that I have to complete. Now, I'm not going to actually go through and complete the marketing campaign as part of this setup, because what I'll do is next section we're going to move on to is the Marketing Campaign Assistant SuiteApp, and actually as part of that we'll build a campaign. Okay. So if I jump back to my PowerPoint, and then just go on to my next slide. Okay, so what is the NetSuite Campaign Assistant SuiteApp? So basically, it allows users to set up the email campaigns, and it is an assistant, so it does go through step by step, telling you what you need to complete, and there's useful information all the way through that. So you have the instructions for the step by step. It is a free SuiteApp that consolidates all the necessary forms you need to create this email campaign. So for those of you who might not be familiar with NetSuite, SuiteApp means it's basically an add-on to NetSuite that isn't part of the standard NetSuite application, but it's something, as it's a free one, it's available for users to install for free, and then once they install it, they have all the information available as part of it, and it's then free for them to use. So the application lets you go through all the required steps to ensure that basically you do not leave out any important information when creating a campaign. So now we're going to go through the steps involved in creating this campaign. So just jump back to NetSuite. So to get there, I can go to Lists, Marketing. I should say that there's lots of different ways we could actually get to it, and if you've used NetSuite before, you'll know that there's lots of shortcuts you can set up and everything to get to marketing campaigns. So I'm going to go to Create Email Campaigns. Okay, so this is our campaign assistant. Immediately, I just want to point you to a couple of things. At the top, you can see there's some useful links here that will take us to help information related to our campaign. So all of these I could follow through. So if I do this, it will open it up in a new NetSuite Help Center, and it will provide a useful information about what a campaign is, the overview, and it will give you other links that you can then follow through to get more information. The other thing that I want to mention as well is on each field that we've got an option here to complete, if we hover above the actual heading of it and click on the link, is then actually a little field help that tells you exactly what this field is expected. And that's the same as it is anywhere through NetSuite. Okay. So I'm going to go through and complete the first page. So as you can see, we've got 6 campaign steps to go through. So on the first page, really just capturing the main information. So I'm going to fill out a title. So this is the name of our campaign. So I'm just going to call this campaign, actually I'm just going to call this Marketing Campaign 1. Okay. So category, if I was to complete a category, it would be, I'd select a list of available categories, and these basically are used to group the campaigns on reports so that we can measure the revenue or the cost of campaigns as a group rather than individually. And you can add to this list of categories. These are just the ones that are available as part of this NetSuite account I'm in at the moment. I'm not going to add a category at the moment though. I'm going to leave that as it is. Manager who's going to be running this campaign, so I'll leave it to myself. The start date, when will it start? So I'll leave it to start today. As you can see, we could set an end date if we wanted to. I'm going to leave it running open. So base cost, so this will then be the cost of the campaign. How much is it going to cost us, excluding any specific campaign events? And we'll see a little bit later on what that means. So I'm going to say it might cost us £500. Expected revenue, so how much do we predict that this marketing campaign will generate for the company? I'm going to say £1,000. So then we've got the option for URL. So here, this is basically the campaign landing page or online customer form associated with this campaign. So what I'm actually going to add in here is that external URL for our online lead form. So I've closed off the online lead form, but I'll just jump back to it. And I'll view my online lead form I created and showed you earlier, and I'll just copy this external link. Add in the URL. And then description, I could add in the description here if I wanted to add more information about what the campaign actually is. I'm going to leave it blank, but it basically would only appear actually within the campaign record itself. So I'm going to jump to the second page. So the second page is asking us who is going to be the target of this campaign. So for those of you that have used NetSuite before, you might know what groups are. For those of you that haven't, a group is basically a set of records with NetSuite. So by records I mean employees, contacts, customers, partners, or vendors. And basically you can create these groups of records to enable you to specifically communicate with a set of individuals. So for example, you can create a group that you might want to invite to a meeting, or create folders in a file cabinet for a specific group in your organization. So you can say, I specifically want just this set of people to be able to view these files I have set up in NetSuite. So we've got 3 options on this page. We can either use an existing target group, so if I've already got one set up, or I can create a new one. And then if I create a new one, I've got 2 options, a static group and a dynamic group. For a static group, it would mean that I basically say, this campaign I want to make available for these set 10 people, and I would specifically select these 10 people by their names. Whereas a dynamic group could be, you'd set up a group based on a criteria. So for example, that's actually what I'm going to use, and I'm going to show you here. So I'm going to say, do my new dynamic target group. And then I've got what member type, so I went through before what it could be, contact customers. In our case, it's going to be customers. And then a group's based off a saved search. So I've got time to go into exactly what saved search is at the moment as part of this webinar. But I've already got a saved search set up. and it's called computer, hardware, software customers. So what I've actually got set up here is a save search to return all customers that have a criteria where the type of company is either a computer hardware or a computer software related company. So that means is when I set it up, I've got a list of say 200 customers, 18 customers could be related to computer hardware or computer software. So my initial group would have 18 members. But then if I update a customer record to either add them, to change them, say they're now part of customer hardware or they're no longer part of customer hardware, that group would automatically get updated to increase or decrease by whatever setting changed. Whereas a static target group, I'd have to individually go into that group and remove that person or that customer. So once I've selected what I want to include, I can go to next. I then I can see at the bottom, it'll give me the save search results and it will list out the customers in this case that are going to be part of this group and who are going to be part of this marketing campaign. And we can see this is the save search and it lists some information related to those at the bottom. So what I'm going to do here is just name the group. So I'm just going to call this marketing group. Group 1. Okay. And then again it tells me save search. So I could enter email. So basically an email would be if the group of customers or contacts I've selected has one email address, you can enter it in here and it will send it directly to that group. But otherwise I can leave that blank, and then I've got some options for other options there, but I need to set any of those. So I'm happy I'm going to create this marketing group 1. Let's go back there. I've already created that group, so let's call it marketing group 2. Okay. So then I've got an option to select an event template. So what this means is an email marketing template are HTML files that are used to generate campaign emails. You can either create these templates in HTML editor outside of NetSuite and then import them, or you can use the rich text editor within NetSuite itself. What will happen is that we will create this campaign email template and attach it to our email marketing campaign event. And on the delivery date for the campaign event, the campaign email template will be used to generate the email that gets sent out. Okay. So if I was clicking this drop-down box here, I could create a new one. And if I was to create a new one, it then gives me the information of what I need to complete. So for example, if I was going to create one outside in the HTML editor, I could then import it as a file, or I could create a new one based on a text editor within NetSuite itself. But I'm not going to create a new one here. I'm using an existing one, and there's just actually one called setup called test, which I'm going to use. So I'm going to select that, and then at the bottom here, it will show you what it's going to look like. And it just NetSuite adds in some Latin for us to show you what actually the template format is going to be and look like when we send out our email. Then the final page of which you need to complete the information is an event, is the event page. Okay. So what an event does is campaign events represent the individual aspects of the campaign. So for example, we could have a campaign that could include 3 events. The first event might be a series of print advertisements. The second one could be an email message that we send to existing customers. Excuse me, sorry. And the third could be a banner ad on partner websites. You can create events for any channels that your company uses for its marketing, and by default NetSuite includes the standard ones of direct mail, email, phone, print ads. Only customers who are not unsubscribed from your marketing campaigns will receive marketing emails, and every email you actually send out includes the option to unsubscribe or provide an unsubscribe link to your customers. What NetSuite actually does is with these email campaign events, NetSuite will automatically delete duplicate messages. so that actually each person will only ever receive one email. So I'm going to complete the information here. So I'm just going to call this email event 1. I've then got to select the subscription. So the subscription categories allows customers and others with whom you communicate through email to choose what types of campaign communication they want to receive. So in this case, I've got a marketing subscription I can use. I can then select a cost. So this cost will be added to the initial cost of the campaign itself. Might cost me £100. And then I could add a promotion if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that. I then want to set the status of my campaign event. So not started will mean obviously it's not going to start. The one I want to choose is execute. So I want to say start this event based upon the date and time I select. So I'm going to say start at today's date at 4 p.m. And I could change those if I wanted to. I believe it's that. If I go to next, we're then basically just going to have a summary page that will review our campaign. So this is all the information I've previously completed. And I can add in another campaign event here if I wanted to. But now I can just select finish. And it's going to let me know it's going to create this marketing campaign with the one event that I have selected into it. And here it is. Here's my marketing campaign that's been created. So this page will hopefully look campaign to make sure that we include all the information in it. And we can see some of the information, and then that's £100 that I said this cost us. So total cost of £600, and we expected revenue of £1,000. And we can see the status is set to scheduled to execute on the 29th of October 2015. Okay. So I'm just going to jump back to PowerPoint now, and I'll move on to the final aspect of the webinar. And the final thing we're just going to talk about is marketing reports. So in NetSuite, the first time when you purchase NetSuite, just by default, there's going to be a standard set of marketing reports that are available on NetSuite. So I'm just going to jump back into NetSuite for the final time, and I can close everything that I've got open. And here I can go to lists. Sorry, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go to reports, and I'll find marketing. Here we go. And I can see these are lists of reports I have available to me. So the first one I look at is the return on investment analysis summary report. So I'm going to open that one up. I'm going to also do the campaign response summary report, and then finally the sales by lead sort summary report. Okay. So here is my the first report I'm looking at, the campaign return on investment analysis summary report. So this is a demo account, so obviously there's not going to be a massive amount of information available in the report. But basically what this report shows me is the profit and return on investment for each marketing campaign, as well as the number of leads, prospects and customers that have been generated. So and then campaigns are grouped by the campaign categories. So, excuse me, sorry, as part of the setup of our previous campaign, we said we can select the category, and had we assigned the category to our campaign, this is how it would be grouped in our report. So we can see we had one event here called the California launch. It cost $30,000. The revenue was just over $14,000, and we see we made a loss of almost just over $15,500 on it. We had no visitors, but we did have 2 leads and 1 purchase as a result of this campaign. The second report is the campaign response summary. So on this report, it shows us within each campaign and campaign event what was delivered and gives them information on the response of recipients. So let's have a look here. So the same California launch that we looked at as part in the previous report, we can see that the actual event was the email. It was scheduled to run on the 12th of March this year. 18 emails were sent. Only one was opened, so we can see the percentage of that was obviously only 5.56%. One person clicked through, so it's going to be the same percentage. Again, no one responded, and none of the other things happened there. But then the default event that was also part of this California launch had 16 people responded to it. So as you can see, there's a lot of statistics that are provided in this report. So it's very useful in telling us for each campaign how many people, out of all the emails that were sent, how many were actually opened, how many people clicked through and how many responded, all the way through to how many people purchased off it, how many emails were bounced at the end of it, and how many failed. And what you can actually do is you can then drill through based off of this. So if I then say, let's have a look at this report here, this event here. If I click on the actual event, then it's going to take me directly into the marketing campaign event itself. If I just go back here, if I go to view detail at the top, it's then going to actually break that down even further, and we'll say when it was purchased, what was the date, and what was the time. So this is then the same campaign response report, but in actual detail mode, and at the top it's then got the back to summary, so I can jump back to the summary report. The final report is sales by lead source summary. So what this does is shows us the total sales by lead source for the date range selected, and again the campaigns will be grouped by campaign category. So we can see here keyword paid, this is one of our categories, and we've got all the breakdown by Google UK, bedroom furniture, living room furniture, etc. The other thing I want to show you in this report is what's also really good is then when in our account we can then break down this information even further. So at the moment we're just looking at one total for transaction. I can change my column and say give me that information broken down by month. Then I can update or refresh the report, and I'll see the same information now broken down for every month in 2015. Just make sure that's refreshed. There we go, and so we can see the same information, and we can now see it by month by month. Similarly, we could have a breakdown by something else set up in NetSuite, so we could have one word accounts, we've got subsidiaries, we could see the breakdown by subsidiary, and we can see all the costs related to that as well. Okay. So thank you for your time. That was everything I wanted to show as part of my marketing tips webinar. I'll finish off my final slide. If you've got any questions, if you've got any questions now, please send them through. If not, you'll see our email address at the bottom here, sales@nolanbusinesssolutions.com. Please send through any questions or comments you might have here, and someone will get back to you. I'd like to thank you all very much for your time, and I hope it's been useful.